after. Do you need to like press a button to agree or something? No?
Yeah, I just did.
Fantastic, wonderful. So because you have two kids in your hands, I don't want to just sit and wait. And
Yeah.
time is precious. Oh, so could you please just we're not gonna use your name in video, but could you just we can put video to the name, for our records. Could you just state your name and where you're from?
Yes, my name is Vanessa Sanchez, and I'm originally from South Carolina, but I live in California.
Wonderful. Could you share just a few words how long you struggled with infertility? What treatments did you go through? And what was the physical and emotional toll it took on you and your family going through fertility treatment?
So my husband and I dealt with infertility for about 3 years, and physically, I didn't go through very much. I got initial testing done. Um, and my husband ended up having to have a surgery because they needed to like look for sperm. And so he had a more difficult
Mm.
physical toll because he had to go through that. Um, Emotionally, it was difficult. I think probably more so for him a little bit because I feel like he blamed himself, and so that was difficult for him.
Mm.
Um, and me like watching him deal with that. Um, and then just feeling like we didn't have any options really because we had some complicated feelings and views on private adoption.
Mhm.
And we had been fostering at the time that we realized that we were dealing with infertility. And we had adopted our daughter through foster care. And so we had seen how difficult adoption could be. And private adoption is even more complicated. So it was hard feeling like we didn't have any options. It felt like there was nothing we could do, really.
Could you just say a few words about your oldest daughter? Because when you adopted embryos, you already had it all.
Yeah. So we were fostering, and we had been fostering for a couple months, and we got a phone call that there was a newborn in the NICU, and um we said yes right away. I actually said yes before I even asked my husband. I just said yes, and then I called him and told him. But he was obviously on board. Um, and so we ended up bringing her home from the NICU when she graduated the NICU, and then we adopted her when she was 14 months old.
Mhm.
Officially adopted her then. And so she was 2 when we adopted the embryos and when I was pregnant, and then she turned 3 2 weeks before I had the twins.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you share with our viewers how you first learned about embryo donation and why did it appeal to you?
I had seen somebody on Instagram who had been talking about embryo donation. Um, I had never seen it before, and I didn't really know anything about it. And we weren't, we didn't know that we were infertile at the time, so I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was neat. And then when we were dealing with it, I remembered that, and so I Googled embryo donation. That's how I found your guys' website.
Mhm.
Um, and it appealed to us because we wanted to have kids, but we um didn't really feel like domestic private adoption was for us, just because we kind of had some complicated feelings about it.
Mhm.
And adopting through foster care is not the main goal of foster care. The main goal is for the kids to go back to their biological parents. So you shouldn't really go into fostering wanting to adopt, because then you're not really going into it with like the right mindset. And also it's like that just sets you up for failure if that's what you're wanting to do. So we didn't want that. We didn't want to keep fostering and hoping to adopt, because that isn't the whole point of it. So that's why embryo donation was so appealing to us, because it takes out the ethical issues that we had with private infant adoption, and then it obviously fostering isn't initially meant for adoption. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Judy is joining us. You might remember Judy from the course that you took with Kevin. So she created this
oh yeah.
course for us. So that's our Judy. She's in New York.
Okay.
Hello, we're talking to Vanessa. Vanessa has twins through embryo donation, and she has a daughter. Previously, she adopted a daughter from NICU as a newborn. And she was just telling me her journey adopting her daughter first, and then we started talking about embryo donation and why it appealed to her and Kevin. Kevin is her husband, who is not busy right now. So just three of us, twins,
Well,
and
Harry will join in a minute.
fantastic, wonderful. I told Vanessa that we have time difference, so there's probably some sort of mix up. So we just because she's she has two twins in her hands, we decided to here they
Oh my God. They're identical, huh?
Oh, they're fraternal.
Really? They look
Yeah.
so much alike.
I know.
because how many embryos you transferred? Two embryos, right?
We transferred two, yeah.
And
Oh
you
my,
got
so are they a boy and a girl, a girl, a girl, a boy and a girl?
Both girls. Yeah.
so fingers crossed for the last embryo. You have three girls now. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
The last one is a
I
boy.
know.
Right?
It's hard. Sometimes I want all girls and sometimes I want a boy.
Well,
then I
I've-
tested. You won't know.
I
until-
raised both. And I'll tell you that girls, they will drive you crazy for the rest of your life. Boys, they will destroy your house in ways that you can't imagine. So it's kind of a trade-off, one way or the other. I think it's easier physically to raise girls. 'Cause
Yeah.
boys is so much more, they tend to be more energetic.
Yeah.
They need a lot more, it's just my experience. They needed a lot more outside kind of things to do sports wise and whatever, whereas the girls are happier with things that were less involving us. But just so different. You have to have different styles.
Yeah.
And they're all blessings no matter what sex they are, and they all make you insane no matter what sex they are. Oh, look at those eyes. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they have pretty blue eyes.
How old are they?
They're 9 months.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm-
Vanessa, could you briefly describe the donation process you went through before you received the embryo, sort of major steps, sort of how you how you remembered?
Yeah, so we filled out all the paperwork and I felt like it all went pretty quickly. We got sent the first profile for donors, and Kevin and I both knew like immediately. I feel like when we looked at their profile, like we felt like a connection, like we felt like we wanted to pick them. And then we got sent one more donor profile. We were actually at Disneyland when we got it. I remember I got the email and we were at Disneyland. And once we saw that one, there was nothing wrong with that couple either, but we knew like that the first one, like we felt more sure that we wanted to go with the first one. And so we emailed you that we wanted to pick them, and then we waited to see if they wanted to pick us too. And once they like accepted us or chose us, I think we got more information, like more detailed information about the couple, and then we got the agreement to sign. And then the embryos had to be shipped from where they were to our clinic. And all of that went pretty quickly, I feel like. I was expecting it to be a really long process, and it wasn't. It all went very quickly and smoothly, and I feel like everything like fell into place just perfectly, honestly.
I
Do you
remember it took a while to go through medical records review. I think the donors clinic would not
Yeah.
use medical records. So
Yeah.
maybe your mindset was such that, oh, it's going to take so long. So you were prepared for that.
Yeah, that did take a while. I remember too, the couple that donated to us, they were calling their clinic and they wouldn't release them, or they couldn't find them or something. And then our clinic wanted something. So there was back and forth, but looking back, it went very quickly.
Do you mind if I ask what kind of criteria were you looking for when you were choosing who you wanted to work with? Like specifics.
That's really hard. We didn't have any physical qualities that we were like they need to be like a certain race, certain hair color, eye color, things like that. I think we were just wanting to feel like a connection to them, and we wanted it to be open. We wanted, I think, to kind of get like a feel for the couple that was donating, and like feel like they were doing it for the right reasons, like they like wanted to do it, were excited about doing it, you know, things like that, because we wanted to make sure that, you know, we're gonna have like a lifelong relationship with these people, a very unique and close relationship. So we just wanted to like feel a connection to them. I think it wasn't really about any like physical qualities and things like that.
Excellent. That's the best reason. It really is great.
So Vanessa, can you share how many embryos you received, and did you have to travel to a clinic, or were the embryos shipped to your clinic?
Yeah, so we got 3 embryos. 2 were frozen together, which are the 2 that we transferred, and 1 was frozen separately. And they were shipped to our clinic in San Diego.
Wonderful.
So you basically went into this knowing it was a high likelihood you'd have twins.
We were hoping, yeah, we wanted to have twins. And since they were frozen together, the doctor suggested that we put both in at the same time, because sometimes thawing and refreezing can cause damage to the embryo. And so we went in with the mindset of like, okay, like hopefully they both stick and we have twins.
I'm really surprised, because usually doctors never suggest to transfer to, unless you
I
have
know,
repeated
yeah.
failures, and then they're like, okay, for the last time, you know, we'll try with 2. So I'm really,
Yeah.
I thought that you decided to transfer 2 because the couple that failed on the first attempt that adopted from the same donor family. I don't know if you were aware of that or not.
No, I didn't even know that.
You didn't even know that?
No.
Because your donors donated to 2 different families, and the other family went through transfer before you did, and the
Oh,
first
really?
didn't work. So
Oh.
maybe you learned about it, and that's why you decided to transfer 2, took a risk, and okay.
No, I didn't even know that. It was because they were frozen together,
Mhm.
that the doctor said, you know, sometimes if you thaw, because you would have to thaw them both out because they were on the same stick. And he said sometimes if you do that and refreeze, it can do damage to the embryo. So he suggested, as long as we were okay with the possibility of twins, to just put them both in. And we were fine with the idea of twins. So yeah,
Elena,
that's why.
how common is it for 2 embryos to be stuck together in a way that they get frozen together?
Not very common. It's just because
Yeah, I don't know.
they had so many. That's why, you know, they froze a lot individually, and then the last 4 probably, you know, got packed together. Usually it's 1 per vial. Yeah, it's very uncommon. And
Wow.
usually when the batch is really large, then You know, they do a bunch of them individual and then, a few couples.
So
Yeah, but it's
interesting.
not very common, yeah, at all.
Wow, what a journey.
Vanessa, do you remember how you prepared for your FET, the day when you received your pregnancy test, the first ultrasound, the heartbeat?
Yeah. So in preparation, I went on a Mediterranean diet. I was like Googling everything, like how to have a successful embryo transfer, and I was doing everything on the list. So I was taking prenatals. I did the Mediterranean diet. I was doing yoga, meditation. I did like prenatal meditation every day. And I actually found a woman who does fertility, like yoga and meditation. And she had done like a series of leading up to an embryo transfer. And so I did that every day. And then the morning of, I got pineapple socks because that's supposed to be like lucky. I drank warm tea because you're supposed to like keep everything warm. So I didn't drink anything cold. And I love cold water in the morning. So that was like hard. I drank warm everything that morning. The transfer, it went smoothly. Everything went smoothly. It was very emotional. I was surprised at how emotional I got after they transferred them in. I like immediately started crying. Kevin was crying. It was very emotional. And then I took a pregnancy test I think 6 days after the transfer. And I rested a lot right after the transfer. I stayed in bed and then I would go on like 2 walks a day. But I was just I wanted it to work so bad. I was like, and I put my feet up because I heard you should do that. So I was like laying down with my
Oh, Vanessa, I cannot hear you. I think we lost.
Volume disappeared.
Yeah. Can you repeat your last phrase? You got
Something happened to
muted.
volume.
Hello.
Hello? Yeah, now we can hear you.
I don't know if I can hear you guys.
Can you hear us?
us?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
So we
I
lost you.
think
You
you
said
were
you went
just saying you had
walks.
your feet up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
You
really quiet. Can you say something now?
Can you hear us?
Okay, yeah, it's better. You got really, really quiet. What were you guys asking?
You were saying you were putting legs up and you went twice a day for a walk.
Yeah, my mom came over to help watch our older daughter so that I wasn't like picking her up and running around with her. And then 6 days after the transfer, I just couldn't wait any longer because I didn't want to take a pregnancy test before, but I just couldn't handle it. And so we went to Target and got a pregnancy test. I took it and it was a really faint positive line. And that was really emotional too. I didn't expect that. I like burst into tears and I was telling Kevin it worked and like I'm gonna cry thinking about it. I was so happy. And then I took like a million pregnancy tests after that every day. I was taking them every day up until the blood test. And then our numbers were really high. And so they said like you either have one really strong baby or 2 babies because my numbers I can't remember what they were, but they were really high. And then they called I got blood tests one day and then 2 days later the second blood test, and they called and said like that they had more than doubled the numbers. So then they scheduled the ultrasound. So we knew we were pregnant and we thought that it was twins because of how high the numbers were. But then the morning of the ultrasound, to check, I think I was only, I can't remember. It was pretty early. So they weren't sure. They said that there was a possibility that there wouldn't be heartbeats yet. But they wanted to do it anyway. And they found both heartbeats that day. And so the lady was talking to us and she was like, okay, let's see. And she said they both stuck. And that was really emotional too. Me and Kevin both cried, I think, again. And I think we stayed so that was all at our fertility clinic, and we stayed with them until I was 9 weeks. And then I transferred to an OB after that.
Mhm. Oh, wonderful. Oh.
It's an
It's sad
emotional journey.
when you see those two sacks together, they show it to you.
Yeah.
How big, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. Yeah. I remember. So can you describe briefly your pregnancy? How was your pregnancy and delivery? I mean, we already talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but Judy and Harry didn't hear it, and our viewers didn't hear it. So can you just describe your pregnancy? At what weeks you delivered? Because you had twins, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah. My pregnancy was honestly really easy for the most part. I stayed on progesterone shots until I was 12 weeks. That's how our fertility clinic does it. And so that was kind of hard because those shots are painful. But physically, it wasn't that bad. I didn't have like nausea or anything. I started getting swelling pretty early. I think I was like maybe 25 weeks and I started getting really swollen. And so then I think I had to go to labor and delivery a couple of times because I was worried that something was wrong. So then at 28 weeks, they had me start coming in twice a week to monitor the babies to make sure that everything was good. Because I had high blood pressure a couple of times at appointments. And then I was 31 weeks and 5 days. And we went in for my regular appointment to check on the babies. And my blood pressure, I wish Kevin was here because he would remember the numbers. It was really high. And the nurse automatically was like, I don't think you're leaving today. I think you're gonna stay. And so she like laid me down, tried to get my blood pressure to come down, and it wouldn't come down. It just like kept getting higher, and then my heart rate was really high. And so they moved me to a room and said that they wanted to do a C-section that night. I had eaten lunch right before, so they wanted to try and wait because they didn't want to do it right after I ate. And so they said they were going to give me a steroid shot to help the baby's lungs. And so I got one steroid shot, and then the C-section was at 10 p.m. that night. And so Piper was born first. She was born at 10, and then Scotty was at 10:03. They had a hard time getting Scotty out, which was really scary. The whole C-section I did not like that process at all. I had so much anxiety. It was also because they were early and like everything else. I think it was just like an anxiety-filled situation. But I didn't get to see them right after. They went straight. Kevin got to see them, and Kevin got to cut the cord of both of them, and he got to go see them that night, but I didn't get to see them until I think it was a full 2 days later. I had to stay on magnesium. I was on like a magnesium drip for I think 24 hours after, and then I got to go see them after I got off of that. So yeah, the pregnancy was not hard, but the delivery was not ideal. But they were healthy and they were big for their gestational age. So that was really good. Like they were not, they were 4 pounds and 4.1 pounds and 3 pounds, 10 ounces. So they were pretty big for their gestational age, which helped a lot with their NICU stay.
Absolutely wonderful. How's your experience been as a new parent? Are you enjoying it? Is it overwhelming with 3 babies? Really?
Yeah. Since they weren't our first, I feel like it was an easier transition because it's not as like you're a little bit prepared for like newborn stuff. But being a new parent to 3 at the same time was definitely a big transition. Just like having enough emotional capacity for everyone at the same time and making sure that like our oldest still felt included and like didn't feel like the babies took all of the attention. And yeah, I don't think it's as hard as I thought, though, I will say. I think once the babies are toddlers and there's 2 toddlers running around at the same time, twins will be harder than twin babies.
How much difference in age is there between the first one and the other 2?
She turned 3, actually, it was like 2.5 weeks before I had them. So almost exactly a 3-year age difference.
You got your hands full.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Vanessa, what type of donation did you choose? Open, semi-open, closed, and why did you choose that type of donation?
We chose open because we think it's important to have an open relationship with the donors and make sure that like our daughters always know their story. We feel the same way about our older daughter and any of her biological family. Like we don't want any secrets or anything about anything, and like make sure that we have an open, loving relationship with everybody. And that's been really great. Like we get to talk to them all the time and share pictures and everything. So
I heard you became Facebook friends. How do you interact? Through text messages, Facebook?
mostly through Facebook. But we have everybody's numbers, and we also connected with the other couple that got the other embryos from the same donors. So we have them on Facebook and we have their numbers. So we share pictures and talk and everything.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And are you planning to use the remaining embryo? And when are you thinking about getting pregnant again?
Yeah, we do want to use the last embryo. I don't know. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes I'm like, I want to be pregnant right now. I miss being pregnant. But we don't know. We were thinking about waiting until the babies are 2 and kind of working with like the same age difference. And we also, all 3 of our girls ended up being Sagittariuses, which we're not like super into zodiac, but since they all 3 are Sagittariuses, we felt like the 4th should be too. So we might try to plan it. And that's kind of the beauty of doing something like embryo donation and embryo transfers. You can really plan, as long as you don't have them early, which is what I did, which was what caused them all to be Sagittariuses, because they were not meant to be Sagittariuses. But yeah, so that's something that we're thinking about doing.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Plans.
Vanessa, what do you wish you knew when you started embryo donation journey? Was there something unexpected that you wish you knew when you started at the beginning?
I don't think so. I feel like our experience was very positive and smooth. And I would say working with you guys made it way more simple than I thought it was going to be. When we first started the process, I was kind of thinking that it was going to be much more difficult than it ended up being. And we personally haven't had anything really like unexpected or negative happen. I do think it's not something that a lot of people know about. So when we talk to people about it, we do have to explain a lot. And but that's nothing, I guess I kind of expected to have to explain it to people.
What do you say to people when they ask about this? How do you explain it?
We just explained that there's a couple who created embryos to do IVF. They had more than they wanted to use, so then we got connected with them and they donated their embryos to us. Sometimes we have to explain the whole process, like what an embryo is, because some people don't like. I think because for some people getting pregnant is very simple, so they don't even know what goes on, you know, it just all goes on inside and they don't think about it. So but yeah, it's funny. My husband was just talking to somebody at work the other day, and he had said that we used embryo donation, and the woman he was talking to was pregnant from embryo donation. So it's funny, like I feel like once you talk about something, you know, you run into people who have done the same thing, you know.
Yeah, wonderful. Oh, that's amazing. And finally, what would you advise or share with other families who are considering this route to become parents through embryo donation?
I mean, like I said, our experience was really positive and smooth. Much easier than I thought it would be. And so I would recommend it a million times over for people who are experiencing infertility. I would recommend it over domestic infant adoption, because I personally think that there's a lot of ethical issues within that space. And I think with embryo donation, you have like a very unique experience because you are pregnant with the baby, and it's a baby who was not going to be born otherwise. So it's just a very different experience. And like, I'm so thankful for the relationship that we have with the couple that donated to us, because it's so unique and special and different than anything else that you like would experience and any other relationships. It's just really cool. And with regular private adoptions and things like that, there's a lot of hurt that can happen, both for biological parents and the kids who experience it. And you don't have that in embryo donation because they're frozen embryos. So yeah, I just think it's really neat, and it's a really cool thing that science has made available for people. So yeah, I would recommend it.
You put that so perfectly. That was so beautifully said.
Thank you.
And I work so much in adoption, and my 4 children were adopted.
Mhm.
And I understand what you're saying completely. And had this technology been available 30 or 40 years ago, I would have jumped on this so quick, because you do eliminate a lot of the problems and the negativity in adoption.
Mhm.
I mean, the end result is the end result. You become a parent and then a family.
Mhm.
Children that may never have been born were born.
Yeah.
But you put it so well. I appreciate that a lot, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
So can we see your babies yet one more time?
Yes. One is down here.
Hello.
Oh, good. My goodness. To
Hi,
let
Brittany.
mommy talk all that time without interruption. Amazing.
They were nursing for part of it, so that makes it easier. They're quiet.
Out of the eye of the camera, huh? Very strategic, Mom.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
God.
wonderful. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, taking time, for your very, very, very busy day and talking to us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
I'll keep in touch, and I'll send you the final version of this video, the link to this final version. It will be now on our website and as a part of our
Okay.
educational course for future recipient families.
Okay.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, and I
Thank
can't wait
you.
to hear about when you do number 4.
I know. I'll let you guys know.
Boy, fingers crossed. Bye,
Thank
Vanessa.
you
Say
so
hello to
much.
David from
Bye.
us. Mhm.
Bye.
Girls.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Vanessa. Thank you. Hi, Harry.
Hi. She had the camera in the wrong position, so she's going to look weird the whole time. And you have to start muting your microphones when this is going on, because all those shots of the baby, we got 1 second because you started laughing and this one started laughing, and it cuts to you instead of looking at the baby. Just
Yeah,
a little
but
critical.
I think we will have enough. We have also at the beginning.
Well, yeah, well, you got what you got. You got enough or you don't.
Harry,
But
you and I missed
we need some scheduling issue fixed too, because it ain't working. Because are we still on at the one that's supposed to occur later? Or was this the
Yeah.
one that was supposed to happen at 6?
No, the six one is still happening. This one is.
Okay.
Did I not send the right time to you guys?
I got a Thursday at 3 o'clock for this one. And I think it was this one. I don't know really who
Yeah,
this woman was because I missed it.
3 your time, so 2 hour time.
But Thursday was yesterday.
Mm.
Today's Friday.
Yeah, maybe I sent the wrong message. I need to look at it because Vanessa.
It doesn't matter. We just have to make a better method for this because
Right, because she
Yeah.
was supposed to be
ain't gonna work.
yesterday. Yeah, she was supposed to be
Yeah.
yesterday. And they're busy. They're traveling to Texas now. So
Did you have that set to HD as far as the recording, high definition, on your preferences for your video recordings?
I just put start recording.
Okay, well, why don't we save this video and we'll see if this one's usable.